Welcome to the Abundant Accountant Podcast. This is where accounting professionals come to learn the most efficient and powerful ways to grow their accounting firms, sharpen their sales skills, and really have a path to creating consistent increased revenue. I cover topics from networking, pricing, ideal clients, how to handle objections, how to handle you're too expensive, and how to set boundaries with clients so you can stop giving away your time and expertise away for free and really start getting paid your value and your worth. You'll learn tips and strategies and also hear personal interviews from successful accounting professionals and others in the industry. This podcast will show you exactly how to create the firm and life of your dreams full of abundance. Welcome to the Abundant Accountant Podcast. Today, we have a very special guest. Our special guest is not only a client here at the Abundant Accountant, but she also has a tax and accounting firm that's been established for over 10 years. And her personal mission and passion is to empower women through financial knowledge and choices. With a background in business management, tax, and accounting, she has had the privilege of supporting clients through their financial journeys, and these days are now focused on helping professional women coaches earning $250,000 or more, and she has a deep understanding of their unique financial and business challenges faced every single day, and all of her solutions are tailored to them with tax planning, wealth management, and business growth strategies. But before we welcome our special guest to the show, if you're an accounting, tax, or bookkeeping firm owner and you want to stop trading time for dollars, let go of overly demanding clients, and get paid based on your value and worth while massively boosting revenue, here's what I've got for you. Here at the Abundant Accountant, I show you a system to fill your firm with ideal clients who value your time so you can catapult your firm to the next level and work the hours you want to work while still having plenty of free time each week for yourself and your family. And not only that, I'm also going to show you how to do all of that in a way that feels simple, effortless, and automatic. If you want me to show you exactly how to do this, go to theabundantcall.com right now and book your call with me and my team. And now let's welcome our very special guest and a wonderful client here at the Abundant Accountant, Tajni, to the show. Welcome, Tajni, to the show.
Thank you, Michelle, for having me. I'm excited to be here today.
Thank you so much for joining us here on a very special episode of The Abundant Accountant with a case study from you and being a client for the last, I guess, year and a half now, or maybe even a little bit longer, and just sharing your story with other firm owners that might be where you were at a couple tax seasons ago. But before we dive in, can you share with everyone what kind of firm you have now, and maybe what kind of firm you had before when you were ready to kind of almost give up, and then where you're at in the country, and just a little bit about you, maybe like 30 seconds.
Sure. I have a tax and bookkeeping firm. It's been around since 2013. So we just had our 10-year celebration last summer, and it's growing like crazy. I'm really excited about it, which is not something that I could have said a year and a half ago when we started working together. And I am on the West Coast in the middle of California.
Awesome. So what were things like before we met and before we started working together? What were things like in your firm? Share all the details.
All the details. Okay. Well, my firm, it was about 9 years old. I had been operating as the owner operator. I'd been working in the firm. I did have a couple of employees by that time, but we were coming out of a couple of really rocky years with all of the COVID nightmare extensions and changes and everything that was affecting the tax portion of my industry. And when I actually got to talk with Denise on the phone, I can remember sitting in my office at home and thinking to myself that if this doesn't work, I'm done. I don't know how I'm going to get out of this, but I am going to get out of this because I was miserable. and I had nothing left to give, and I was exhausted, and I was really, really sad
Mm.
at the core of my being because I really, at one point, had enjoyed what I was doing, and I really did like my clients.
Yeah. And when was that moment that you decided to do something about it and reach out to us for help? Like, how did you know you needed support and help and that things could no longer continue going the way they had been going?
I don't know when I saw your ad. I can't even recall it. I just know that it was a godsend in my life. I can remember thinking that I am at a ceiling
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have the skills to go beyond where I am in my business at the time,
Mm-hmm.
just because I've never been there. Not that I didn't think that I could grow it, because I was confident that if I knew how to get out of where I was, that I could do that. But I just didn't have anyone to show me the next step. And I'm in a remote kind of an area of California. So there wasn't a lot of shoulder rubbing that I could do. There weren't any real mentors that I could reach out to. And I really, really felt like I was just kind of in a bubble of isolation and I didn't have anywhere to reach out to.
Yeah, like you were on an island all alone and yeah, had no one to reach out to. So I'm very glad that you saw my ad on Facebook and I'm sure you're like, I've got to reach out, but who knows? And
Yeah, and
skeptical.
I'm not one to really do that. So it was kind of like one of those Hail Marys that you throw.
Mm,
And it's like,
got it.
okay, if this doesn't work, then it doesn't work and I'm done. And I'm going to do what they tell me to do and I'm going to pay what they tell me to pay. And this is my last ditch effort to stick it out and grow my business into something that I know it could be and what I wanted it to be.
And what did you envision it to be? Like when you were thinking about it before you had reached out, you were miserable at the time and frustrated and not even liking your work anymore. But what did you envision it to be and what did you want it to be, but you just didn't have the skill set to get to that level?
I wanted it to be something that was less about me. I felt at that point in my business that every phone call that came in had to talk to me.
Mm.
Every person that walked in the door had to speak to me. I felt like I was completely being run by my business instead of running my business. I felt like I had no time freedom. I felt trapped. I really, really felt trapped. I didn't see a way to get out from under anything, even though, I had employees who were working. They were competent to deal with clients, but I didn't know how to get myself out from where I was and start running my business instead of letting my business run my life.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And I can definitely see why you're like, I'm just going to do whatever Denise says. But I'm sure that you had some initial skepticism beneath all of that. So, what had you made that last ditch effort, take the plunge, go all in? I mean, we've been working together since about a year and a half now, a little bit longer. But for those that might be listening, or even, you a couple years ago, what was that initial skepticism that you had in your head that you had to set aside? Say, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to make this last effort because I know you said, and maybe you can share and talk about it, that you were really willing to close up shop and be done.
That I did have some skepticisms, because I had never done the things that you and Denise were having me do. And I had never been around anyone who was doing the things that you and Denise were having me do. But as much as I was skeptical about that, on the same hand, there was a very logical side of me that said, well, if you've never done it before, then how do you know it's not going to work?
Yeah.
So I think for us accountants, that logical side tends to come out fairly well on some things and not on others. So I just trusted in the system. I let it go. And again, it went back to if it's not going to work, then there's nothing else out there that's going to help me right now. So it's either this or nothing.
Yeah, and when you say nothing, share with me about what you were thinking about closing your firm and just shutting it down if this didn't work.
I was looking at how firms were sold.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at what firms were available in my area that I could just refer my clients out to because I just was not in a mental frame of mind
Mm-hmm.
to do another season like I had just come out of. There wasn't a part of me that was feeling like I had that type of energy left. And I didn't see it changing. And I wasn't going to do the same thing again. It just wasn't going to happen. So they were either going to be sold or they were going to be referred out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to find something else to do.
Right. And so now looking back, when you think about the time you invested, the money you invested, before you even put the skepticism aside as to the things we were telling you to do, like before you enrolled or when you had that call with Denise, share with me that moment when you decided to say, yep, I'm going to pay. Yep, I'm going to set aside the time she tells me. I'm just going to do everything they tell me to do.
I can tell you, I was sitting on my back patio,
Oh,
and I can tell you that it was sunny and it was warm. And Denise and I were talking on the phone, and I was really appreciative of where I was at that moment and thinking that if my firm grows and changes the way Denise is telling me that it can grow and change, then I am going to be able to spend more time sitting right here,
mm,
sitting on my patio, enjoying my backyard and my beautiful view and the sunshine and not being stressed, being able to answer the phone and being happy to talk to a client instead of looking at the phone and cringing because it was ringing. And just, I had for that brief moment when I was talking to Denise that day when we were going through our last talk before I made my deposit payment to come on board, I just had this glimpse of what my firm could be like and how I wanted to feel
yeah,
with my firm. So it was just that little bit of hope that was
yeah,
still there. And I
yeah.
was really thankful for that.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. How do you feel now? You did our 8 week sales mastery course. You were in our ongoing coaching. You're in our mastermind program. How do you feel about your firm now, sitting on the back patio, enjoying the sun, enjoying your life now?
You know, it has grown and my employees have flourished. We brought on another employee. I am not doing nearly the amount of work that I was doing before. I think I reduced my own personal workload by about 85% when it came
Mm-hmm.
to the tax, and I have stepped completely out of the bookkeeping. We've branched out, and I have a whole new business
Mm-hmm.
that's all business bookkeeping and a new branch of my firm that is all of the tax preparation. It looks like a completely different firm than it looked like 18, 19 months ago when we first started working together. I'm enjoying working. I am seeing changes happen that I was dreaming about sitting on the back patio in the sunshine that day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's become real. And the dreams that I have now are so much more then the little dreams, and I call them little, and back then they were huge. But I mean, when I look back now at what I just really was hoping for, the change that you guys encouraged me to make was not really that big. There's new procedures, there's new policies, there's
Well,
new
you have a
mindsets, but
sales
none of them were
process too.
overwhelming.
Right. And you have a sales process too.
Yes, and that makes all the difference. It really
Right.
does.
I mean, not only are you 85% free of your time, but revenue's up. You started another company. You've done massive things in a very short amount of time. So, what are some of those lessons that you learned along the way in just the last year and a half by enrolling in our 8 week sales mastery course and doing the things we told you to do, even if they were scary at the time? But if you had to just think big picture, what are some of those lessons that you learned from letting go of maybe the fear that was there or the control and just saying, I need to learn a different way and I need to trust the system and the process?
Sure. I don't know that I had ever had a conversation about sales in accounting.
Right.
That to me was completely foreign. So I got to learn that sales is not a bad word. It's not a bad thing. It's sharing what I do. And I love that. I really enjoy those sales conversations that I get to have now because they have a whole different connotation than what they had before. It's not the slimy car salesman that you always use for those derogatory comments and cartoons. It's fun. I enjoy sales. And I never thought I would say that.
I know. I was going to say, I can't even believe those words came out of your mouth.
Right?
Yeah.
I actually really do. I love the one-on-one conversations. I love digging in and really finding out what clients are all about, what they're looking for, and how we can help them. And I never realized that that conversation was a sales conversation.
Yeah.
So that to me was very eye-opening. I've learned that coaches are invaluable. I had never had a coach or a mentor before I reached out to you and Denise. And what you guys were able to impart in me, what you guys were able to encourage me to do, what you were able to bring out of me just through little conversations and challenges. Oh my goodness. You guys are amazing. I would tell anybody that you need to get a mentor, you need to get a coach. You need to get someone who's been where you haven't been in order to take you where you've not gone yet. And then I learned that my clients don't leave if I raise my prices to where they need to be, which was on one
Always
hand,
the shocking way, right? It's like, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened.
I obviously didn't raise my prices high enough because I didn't lose enough clients. And that's never a conversation or a sentence I ever expected to say.
It's so true though. And, I think when you talked about, the coaching, it's what's really interesting is typically we think we need more information or, you might have thought in the beginning too, will this work for me? But the problem that I think a lot of firm owners have, and even that you maybe even had, was that you don't lack information. We lack transformation. And that's what we provide. And I think that's what you've experienced is just having that transformation and being able to have the human support element. Because typically with information, we don't get the coaching. You don't get the feedback. We gave you feedback throughout your whole sales process and continue to give feedback. Because if you read a book or you watch a YouTube video or you watch a webinar, it only gets you so far. But when you have that proper support, it does lead to transformation. I think that's what I have seen in you, which is just so beautiful to watch and see all of your past limiting beliefs just dissipate and go away, or the fears of raising your prices and now we get to do it again because yes, they can go up, and be able to focus on even your next set of goals. And I just thank you for sharing that. So
Absolutely. And I think you're right. I think that transformation is really a beautiful description
yeah,
because, yes, I had the knowledge.
yeah,
Yes, I had the head
yeah,
knowledge,
yeah,
but putting it into place and having someone do the encouragement, having someone do the course correction, having
correct.
someone
Hmm.
ask the questions. A lot of us, and I think this is true across the board when you're a professional in your field or when you've branched out and you're an entrepreneur, there aren't a lot of people that you can bring into your life that
Hmm.
will challenge you, that will course correct you, that genuinely want you to succeed at
Yeah.
the end of the day. So being able to find that through a coach, through a mentor is, like I said earlier, it's invaluable. It's amazing.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
been
Thank you.
wonderful.
I'm curious, Tani, if you had tried other things before you saw my ad on Facebook, another program, any other webinars, things you tried to do to fix all these challenges, but it just didn't work out.
I
And
had done webinars and
uh-huh,
I had read a lot of
books.
information,
Yep.
books, how to do this, how to do that. But I think without the interpersonal back and forth,
Hmm.
they all really fell flat because there wasn't anything to encourage me to actually step out and do what was on the paper in front of me.
Love it.
And it didn't, obviously they didn't work because I wasn't doing well when I came to you.
Yeah. What do you feel were some of your biggest takeaways from working with us, continuing to work with us now, that you would love to share that maybe we haven't spoke about yet when you shared the lessons learned? Biggest takeaways and, those aha moments that you just didn't even think was a problem in your firm.
I think some of the biggest ones were being able to really define the engagement that I have with my clients to avoid scope creep.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and to be able to onboard clients in a very clean manner, to set those boundaries from the get-go, know why we're together, what we're doing, what our relationship is going to look like, what it begins with, and put an ending on it. I think that I never really had an understanding that a client relationship had boundaries to it. It was just, oh, they're my client. They're going to ask me to do this. They're going to ask me to do that. They're going to need me to do this. They're going to need me to do that. And I would just do it. And without those clear engagements, there were a lot of things that I did that I never got paid for because I never billed for, because I didn't have something that was clean cut and laid out and understood by both parties.
And how much revenue have you recouped or started to generate now or in the last year and a half that you didn't have before because you did it for free? It wasn't being tracked. You had scope creep. You answered quick questions. You did things for the cheap.
Oh, wow. I don't have numbers in front of me, but I would be confident saying that on a monthly basis, I have probably brought in anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000 a month in revenue that I normally would have just given away.
Wow. That's quite a bit on an annual basis.
It really is. And
Significant.
it's pretty astounding. And it's a little, I don't know if embarrassing is the right word, but it does give me pause over what have I been doing for the last
Well,
11
not now we
years.
don't have that bleeding anymore in your
We do
business.
not have that anymore.
Yeah.
No, we do not.
And what, in the a year and a half ago, you were on your deck looking out there saying, I want to spend more time here. What do you see as your new future and your new vision for your life and your firm at this moment going forward?
Wow. At this moment going forward, I see in about 3 years, I will probably only be working 1 day a week in my firm.
Wow.
And I'm so excited about that. And the growth is going to be triple what it is right now. So the vision that you have allowed me to grow into is coming to fruition
I love it.
with the new companies that I was able to branch off onto because I didn't just give up and throw in the towel and say, I'm done. This is overwhelming and I feel exhausted. It's really an amazing thing. I'm looking forward to it. I have lots of hope. I'm super joyful. Even it is right now the middle of February and tax season is in full swing at the office, and I'm enjoying it,
Yeah,
which
not
I have
stressed.
not been able to say for many, many, many years.
I
So
love
it's
it.
wonderful. I'm not working overtime.
Hmm.
I am still less than 40 hours a week at the office, even this time of year, which is unheard of.
I love it.
And it's just going to get better.
And so, with your 4 days off in the future, what is it that you would want to be doing when you're only working 1 day a week?
Well, my husband and I would like to travel.
Right.
And more than anything, I've got 3 grandkids that I absolutely love spending time with and doing things with. And I'm going to absolutely enjoy not having to say, oh, I'm sorry, Bubby. Grand's got to go to work.
Yeah.
And Grand's not going to have to go to work. So it's going to be wonderful.
Awesome. What words of wisdom, Tawny, do you have for someone listening right now that might be in your shoes or might be in where your old shoes were right now,
I would just
wanting
really
what you want?
encourage, honestly, you've gotten to where you're at right now. You've got the skill set, you've
Mhm.
got the knowledge, you know where you want to go. You need to get out of your own head. You need to have someone speak into you, and you need to learn what you need to learn to do what you need to do and just move forward. Just do it. Jump in.
Love it. Well, Tawny, thank you so much for taking out the time to share your journey and everything with our listeners today here at the Abundant Accountant Podcast. It's an honor to have you. And is there anything else that you want to share or leave them with that maybe we didn't talk about yet so far today that you want to share and get off your heart and just say whatever is else is on your mind right now?
Sure. I could never have imagined how much different my whole mindset and my firm would look in just 18 months. I would just encourage anyone who is listening and who hasn't already reached out to you to do it. There's, you have nothing to lose. Absolutely nothing. I think the first 4 weeks of the 8 week sales mastery course, I had recouped 2.5 times what I paid for the initial course. So it's not like you're going to be out the money. It's not like you're going to go backwards at all. Just get out there. Do what you need to do. You have everything in you to do it. You just need the encouragement and you need the guidance.
Love it. Thank you, Tawny, so much for being here with us today on the Abundant Accountant Podcast. It's an honor to have you here. It's an honor to coach you and continue to work with you. And I will continue to work with you until you're working 1 day a week. So game on. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Michelle. It's been wonderful.
Thank you all so much for joining Tawny and I here on a very special episode of the Abundant Accountant Podcast. And if you are like Tawny, an accounting, tax, or bookkeeping firm owner, and you are sick of doing things for free, having scope creep, trading your time for dollars, and you want to increase your fees and let go of those overly demanding clients and finally get paid your worth so you can eventually work 1 day a week, here's what I've got for you. At the Abundant Accountant, we show you a system to fill your firm with ideal clients who value your time and pay you premium fees so you can take your firm to the next level just like Tawny did and only work the hours you want to work while still having plenty of free time every single week for yourself and your family. And not only that, I'm also going to show you how to do all of this in a way that feels simple. It feels effortless and it feels automatic and good. And if you want me to show you exactly how Tajni did this and a bunch of other firm owners, go to theabundantcall.com right now and book your call with me and my team. We would love to speak to you, and have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next episode.